Hi everyone, my name is Danny. Today I want to talk about something that is not talked about enough, or probably not at all, when it comes to the media, either social media or independent media or radio, TV, and press. And that's the following. For a long time, we've known that people with disabilities, regardless of what they are, aren't cared for as they should, especially being in a country that supposedly is the richest country in the world. There's not health care, there's not good infrastructure. And when we talk about this, having healthcare for all or an infrastructure, we think about everybody. And people say, well, that's socialist or that's whatever. Yet we forget that the most vulnerable people will benefit from this. And at some point in our lives, regardless if you're able-bodied right now, you will become part of our group at some point. So the question today is, why don't we think about that? Why do we think that we are going to be fit, that we are going to be able-bodied, and we're not going to need any of these things that have helped people with physical disabilities at one point or the other? It gets neglected. With that said, we can also see this in our government. We have several people who I'm concerned about based on their behavior, the things that they say, and even, although I'm blind, it's hard to deny, after a lot of people have said, some people look physically unwell. And again, those people have great health care. I'm talking about Congress members and other people who work in government. But yet, millions and millions of people with disabilities, with the same issues that these leaders have, they're not getting that same treatment. Why? I thought that as a nation, we were supposed to be united. I thought that as a nation, we would want the best for everyone. But to think that nobody needs health care, nobody needs things to help them in their daily lives, is, I don't even know what word to use. That says a lot about a country. When you're not willing to give a little bit more to help others who, through no fault of their own, don't have the same possibilities that you do. For if they did have those possibilities, it would mean the world to some of these people. More access to transportation can mean a lot of people can perhaps go to their doctor's appointments. Houses that are designed with a universal in a universal way can mean that a person won't have to be institutionalized. Having public parks and other places be accessible in every way means that everybody would get a sense of what it's like to be outside. But as I've said before, we only think about ourselves, and we only think about disabilities when it happens to one of our family members or when it happens to us. And this is why we are the way that we are right now. Unfortunately, we have lost the way. And that has to stop. And it starts with our leaders. I believe that when our leaders are able to accept, this is what I have, this is what I'm lacking, and they present themselves as who they are, more people will be accepting of something. I know we have several people in the media, professional sports, what have you, famous people who have said, hey, I have such and such disability. And that has created awareness for everybody. But yet that's not enough for the government to get moving. When is a good time? When more than half of our people in this country have some sort of disability or some illness? Is that when we're finally going to say, hey, we're going to have to take care of all of these people? This is something that our government has not talked about. They talked about healthcare for all. But when you put it in the context of disability, that's what people are not talking about. So what I propose is doing an experiment, and I believe that the United States can easily do this. If you don't believe that healthcare actually works, prove that out. Prove it. So in this scenario, what I would recommend is, why not have something to where everybody who's on disability or has a disability can get universal health care and see how they do with it. See how their lives are changed. And if it's positive, if the change is positive, if you know that they're doing better in their jobs or in their personal lives, in any way, then you will know that having health care will serve a great experience, will be a great experience for everybody. Because no money, people will often say, we're going to have to pay more taxes if we want that. We're going to have to take away from some people if we do that. Let me tell you something. No money, no possessions on earth, nothing is more valuable than health itself. And when we lose it, there is no way money is going to be able to bring you back the way that you were before you had some disability, whatever that is. This is why healthcare for everyone is important, because we would have doctors actively seeing you day in and day out, and will make sure that you're in tip-top shape. But what we have now is the opposite. There's junk food. There's all these foods with all these chemicals. We may or may not know what they're doing to our bodies. But the fact is this. We have a broken healthcare system, and people are not willing to do anything about it. So when are we going to say enough is enough? That's the question. I will say this. We need leaders that are actually listening to the people. We need more leaders that are not going to get money from for-profit organizations, that are not going to be swayed by any of these big corporations. I don't think we're there yet, where we're going to get enough people in high positions of our government that are like that. Right now, we only have a few voices, but there has to be more. Look at how much we're going through today, for example. There's all of these viruses going around, all of these things. And I know we often get lost in this is fake news or that is fake news. Instead of throwing that around, let's look around us and actually see people and how they're doing. It's sad that we have to wait over and over, year after year, for something to change, and certainly never does. Thank you, everyone, for watching, for listening. If you have any comments, remember to drop them in the comment box. And yeah, I will talk to you later.